West Ham United are back in the frame as one of England's top clubs after a whirlwind season in which Harry Redknapp put together a squad of players that proved they could respond to the challenges of an exhausting Premiership season. Classic goals, devastating moments of skill, sendings off, controversy, brilliant saves, broken legs and heroics. Stand by for a whistle-stop tour of the second part of West Ham's 1998-99 season. At the end of November, everything looked rosy for Harry's hopeful Hammers. Having secured an unprecedented second position in the Premiership, and the precocious Joe Cole preparing to make his debut for the club, things couldn't have been better. And then, 4 nightmares. Leeds, Swansea, Sheffield Wednesday, and the biggest of all, the departure of John Hartson after a much publicised incident at the training ground with Isle Berkovic, and a loss of team form that even Eddie the Eagle would have been hard-pressed to explain. Harry's European dream began to look like King Kong on a bad hair day. It all began at Ellen Road with West Ham facing Leeds United, full of confidence, having won their last 2 successive away games. But then what goes up and up must eventually come down to earth.
Hart. Ruddock. Helped out by Margas, but the clearance has gone straight to Bowyer! A goal presented to Leeds, but still very well taken. Margas had the chance to clear, failed to take it, and Bowyer calmly swept it into the bottom corner. As a result of the substitution, Harry Redknapp has changed the system as well, and West Ham are now effectively playing 4-4-2. Here's Moncur to Hartson. Lampard the runner off him, but Hartson couldn't offload the ball. And now here's Hasselbank. Chance to use his pace. Faced initially by Margas. And now here's Lee Bowyer! That is a peach of a goal. Wonderful play, sweeping move, and an emphatic finish. Bowyer's second, Leeds second, and in form like this, whatever West Ham's failings, Leeds look unstoppable. Swung in by Hart. This is Hasselbank, difficult for him to turn. Layoff finds Bowyer. Hart. Now Cure. Hasselbank and Smith both waiting for a centre, which may now arrive. And Molyneux! Everything is going Leeds' way. And the player that they like to call in this part of Yorkshire the Terminator has, in all probability, terminated West Ham's hopes of taking anything from this game. A degree of misfortune in that the defensive header ricocheted into a player and fell so nicely for Robert Molyneux. Actually hit Smith, who then left it for Molyneux to finish. Molyneux. Smith. Holland is the furthest Leeds player forward. That's Hasselbank. No whistle. Hasselbank! Arguably the most spectacular of all the goals we've seen. There was a case for a free kick there to either side, one for foot up, the other for a little bit of niggle, but then when the ball ran loose, just savour the power. Leeds' 4th goal, dispatched ferociously by Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
West Ham's worst away defeat of the season in their 19th competitive fixture. The first chance to set things straight was on the long road to Middlesbrough. West Ham did not travel well, however, and Brian Deane put Borough ahead on 39 minutes after a fine cross by Andy Townsend. John Hartson almost snatched an equaliser 10 minutes before the end, but his shot came back agonisingly off the crossbar. But all was not lost. Despite 2 successive defeats, the Hammers were still in 7th position. Would it be a mid-term hiccup or a mid-season breakdown? Walter Smith's Everton, full of goal-scoring breakdowns of their own, not to mention the recent return of Croatian ex-Hammer Slaven Bilic, would provide the answer.
The low corner headed back into the path of Lomas. Driven across there, Dix just got a flick of the back foot to it. It so easily could have gone in. It was quick thinking by Steve Lomas. The important thing was that he drove that ball in really fiercely, and Dix with a equal quick bit of thinking, looking for goal number 51. Lomas again. Lovely burst through the midfield, and Keller looking there on. There's 3 players coming up now as Keller puts the cross in. It's gone in! Right over Thomas Myra's head. And West Ham ahead on 19 minutes. Well, what that goal celebration is all about, but plenty to celebrate. Bit of a fluke really, but they all count, and it's Keller's 2nd of the season. Congratulations from Hartson. Really, you can see he's looking down at the ground when he hits the ball, so no intention there, but well, 1-0. Sinclair always got caught out there by Barmby. It's Cadamartri stretching for it. He's got the equaliser for Everton. A cruel piece of punishment. Lomas out to Keller. A good looking cross. In comes Sinclair! He came out of nowhere! A terrific header! Headed into the ground, and the ball bounced over Myra. Just 3 minutes after making the mistake and letting in Barmby. Sinclair has atoned with a fabulous goal. And West Ham back in the lead. Trevor Sinclair's 4th of the season.
So Mark, West Ham win, and an amazing goal you scored. Tell us about your goal.
Yes, I had a lot of chance because I missed my cross. But that's football, and if you need some chance sometimes to score a goal, and in the second half it was better because of my cross. Trevor Sinclair scored a very important goal for us, because we took 3 points this evening, and it was very important because we lost the 2 last games away, and it was important for us to win today.
Yeah, it was open game. We love to play this type of game. Especially me, I like when they pass me a lot the ball, and I think we play well tonight. And we continue and play all level all the year, and if we do it, I think we will be in the top 6 in the end of the season.
Is the language difficult for you?
No, with a foreigner it's okay. I can understand maybe 190%, but sometimes it's difficult with John Hartson or Steve Lomas because the accent is different. But I'm here now since for 4 months, maybe in 6 or 1 year. I think it should be okay with the language.
After some frantic transfer speculation over the early part of Christmas, Ludek Miklosko finally left West Ham to head west, joining Queen's Park Rangers after being with them on loan for 3 months. Miklosko had been West Ham's first choice keeper for 8 years, chalking up over 350 appearances, having been signed from Czech side Baník Ostrava in February 1990. Shaka Hislop himself claimed to have learned a lot from Ludo and said that he was sad to see him go. It seemed as though home form was to be Redknapp's trump card, but wouldn't it be nice to go to Highbury and turn over the Gooners, that no-nonsense, heartbreaking bunch of North Londoners who beat West Ham no less than 4 times last year, twice in the league, and then knocking them out of the FA Cup, the Littlewoods Cup, and then having the audacity to lose to Aston Villa on the last day of the season and deny the Hammers a European place? Imagine the joy of revenge, and dream on. It was sadly to be another case of imagine on, you irons. As early as the 7th minute, Mark Overmars cut in between Potts and Sinclair and rifled in a low shot that seemed to surprise Shaka Hislop. Nicholas Anelka was in devastating form, hitting the post after half an hour, but he limped off with an injury shortly afterwards, much to the relief of Hammers fans and players alike. Arsenal then went into a lower gear, and in the last quarter of an hour, Lampard rounded the keeper, only to slip at the key moment. And then Wright missed a good chance against his old club as the final whistle beckoned. Not for the first time, it was 1-0 to the Arsenal. Again, the sanctuary of a home game. But Coventry City remained the only Premiership side to have beaten Chelsea in a league fixture on the opening day of the season. And with Huckabee and Whelan fit, Gordon Strachan's side was still a good each-way bet.
McAllister, who has a very interesting hairline, what there is of it. Hartson gets away from his man, hits across into Berkovic. It's got to be there for Wright. And Ian Wright's goal drought comes to an end as he hits number 7 for West Ham in the 6th minute. It was Hartson who did the work, and Berkovic who unselfishly laid the ball across to Wright. And it was like shelling peas, really. Whelan, but Pearce got there first. McAllister. Boateng. Just the one in looking for Whelan, and Hislop had to punch it, and it was a good punch. And it's actually a punch that sends Lomas away. Berkovic. Now he's got space, but Coventry have come back in numbers. Here's Wright! Oh, so close to a second for Ian Wright. A minute into stoppage time, Wright went through there, got the touch in on Grizovic. Agonisingly wide. Green finds Edworthy. In fact, so quickly that Wright got in there. Berkovic, Sinclair. Can West Ham make any capital out of this? Lampard. Berkovic touches it to Lomas. Now Berkovic in that attacking position outside the area. Lampard a little touch into Hartson. It could have been in there. Oh, and somehow Berkovic's touch just inches wide. I wasn't too sure that he'd actually even got a touch on it, but he did. It's just a delicate little head, and Grizovic had to watch it go inches wide of his right-hand post. A little over 22 minutes remaining. West Ham still 1-0 up. Sinclair. He's fought his way through. Berkovic. They're still queuing up. He'll come to Hartson! And Johnny Hartson ends his goal famine too. West Ham have something of a cushion now. 67 minutes gone. John Hartson gets his 4th of the season. You can see there the Coventry defence, just what was happening with the marking.
was attributed to me, the comments apparently, that we were going to auction him, and it was written in the News of the World, if anyone reads that paper, by some reporter who doesn't even exist, it turns out. It was a snide name that he's gone under because no one wanted to put a real name to it, and it was an absolute load of nonsense. We're supposed to be going to auction him. I mean, you know, we want him to stay here as long as he can because he's such an outstanding player, and there's no talk about us auctioning him or selling him at the moment. We want to build a football team, and you only build a football club around people like Rio.
Rio, did you read the article or did it just go past you and did you miss out on it?
I kind of laughed at the article, to be honest. So obviously it's gone under a false name and it's a load of rubbish, as the gaffer said.
So there's nothing in it?
Nothing at all, no, we want to keep him here as long as we can, and as I say, we're looking to build a football club, and Rio is a major part of that building plan.
By a minor miracle, 3 away defeats in the month had only fashioned limited damage for the Hammers, whose victory over Coventry had lifted them to 6th position in the Premiership at the end of 1998. Hartson and Wright had finally hit the back of the net again, and with an FA Cup third round home tie against 3rd Division Swansea to look forward to, West Ham fans could still ring in the new year in some comfort. West Ham strode confidently out into the last year of the 20th century to face a side over 70 places below them in the league. Farnborough Town, Emley, Wrexham, every Hammers fan had read the script, and it seemed to be screaming cup shock right from the word go.
Jason Smith has put Swansea ahead. Where this goal is going to come from. There's 3 minutes to go. Julian Dix, he can hit him. Oh, and he's got in! And Dix is West Ham's saviour.
To Old Trafford for a Super Sunday and lights out to delay the start of a fixture that West Ham had not won for over 10 years. In the end, the lights were fixed and the match kicked off an hour and a half late, but by the end of the game, West Ham were beginning to wish they'd stayed off for good.
Keane, Dix, and Dwight York, no flag, goal for Manchester United. York, who's had a little bit of a lean spell. What
a strike, Martin. I told you they'd get punished, and yet again they've allowed a ball, and it's a great ball from Keane, but it's fed into the front, who's allowed to control it, turn and play York in. I thought he'd maybe lost his chance. It gets away from him just slightly, but watch, he drives it through Lazaridis' legs across Shaka Hislop. It's the power that beats the goalkeeper, the power and the accuracy. What a start for United.
Yes, after the game, Xhaka will be buying the drinks because Dwight York has got the better of him. There's been not too much of a touch on the travels for Harry Redknapp since then. And it's Keane. Ferguson would love to see another goal back before half-time. Blomqvist, but to strike it. Oh, it's hit the post, and now it hits the back of the net from Andy Cole.
Well, that's a more difficult chance than the one he missed, because it came back to him awkwardly, bounced. It was all about concentration and sweetness in the strike, but yet again it's the break. Look, plenty white shirts back, but Blomqvist just rolls it back, but arrives it, doesn't quite hit it, chokes it, but it's all about Cole. Needs to hit it first time. The strike needs to be true. It was all of that. Much truer than Nicky Butts. And Andy Cole has his goal.
Moving well forward again down this near touchline. Blomqvist drops for Dennis Irwin. York. That's a brilliant pass for Andy Cole. Well, talk about being on the same wavelength. These two are in perfect harmony.
Yeah, that sums him up, Martin. It really does. Beautiful football. Such awareness. He's got a great footballing brain, Dwight York. Andy Cole's more of a finisher to me, but York has got a wonderful brain. He's so aware. He drops off the front line. Everyone thinks he's going right. It's a reverse ball, and Andy Cole just casually rolls it past Shaka Hislop. Absolutely first-class football. Another fine performance from Alex Ferguson's two front men. and that's been the difference in the match. We think they've been pretty dominant, Manchester United, and unbelievable 24. And when West Ham haven't hit the target, well, it's no surprise.
It's Ryan Giggs, and again Hislop is there. It's headed in by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who once more shows his predatory touch within minutes of coming on. And with 10 minutes to go, it's 4-0 to Manchester United.
Well, that's where they've been a real cut above West Ham, Mark. Was in this last third. Look at that run from Giggs. Absolutely beautiful. So hard to mark. Didn't quite do it himself. Again, it's York who plays the pass, so aware of people's movement. And that's a really good header. You can see Ferdinand thought he might get back, and therefore Solskjaer's got to get it up and put power on it. He did all that, and as you say so often, he comes in there and just nicks his goal.
Lomas. Never really carried true conviction, you feel, West Ham today, but they're putting it together here, and Frank Lampard tucks it away. 4-1.
Well, too little, too late, one feels. They are threatened again, and Joe Cole playing his part. He gets a little bit of luck off Henningberg. Henningberg will think he maybe should have won the tackle and seen the danger out. But he gets a little bit of luck as he turns. But it's a lovely finish as it drops, controlled. Keeper comes and spreads himself, just slots it wide of him. Nice little finish from Frank Lampard.
Not in the best frame of mind, Harry's men made the trek up the M4 to face John Holland's Swansea City in the FA Cup third round replay. The Welshmen were already inspired, but after the Manchester mauling, they must have really been fancying their chances. In the event, Swansea won with a 28th-minute goal from Martin Thomas. In the last minute, Neil Ruddock almost pulled off a session of extra time with a great shot, but Roger Freestone pulled off a breathtaking save that guaranteed the Welsh side a home tie against Derby County in round 4 and made it 2 terrible results in 4 days for West Ham. Just 2 days later, the unthinkable occurred. West Ham's last season's hero with 24 goals had a year on become an also-ran with only 4. And so when Joe Kinnear offered Harry Redknapp £7.5 million for John Hartson, Redknapp relented. It represented a profit of £3.2 million on the original deal with Arsenal, but it came at a time of instability in a weakened team, and it meant that goals might dry up. As it was, West Ham's next goal was still over a month away, and when it finally came, it would be from the boot of a defender. West Ham had begun the season brilliantly in August with a 1-0 Ian Wright-inspired win at Hillsborough, but that all seemed a long, long time ago when the Owls visited Upton Park for the return. Without Hartson, West Ham were now also rightless and playing out a month that was proving pointless in every sense of the word. Even new signing Scott Minto, who'd left a sun lounger in Portugal to come to an overcast East London, seemed out of touch. What happened that afternoon defied the belief of even the staunchest of the West Ham whingers.
Carboni, look at the space he's got on this side. Hinchcliffe turns it in, it's going to go in. Hislop couldn't keep it out. And Hinchcliffe certainly, I think, intended that as a cross. And it crept under Hislop's body. A real miserable way to concede a goal.
First goal for Sheffield Wednesday, scored by Andy Hinchcliffe.
West Ham a star-studded subs bench with Cole and Kitson and Lazaridis. One imagines it won't be long before we see them. Here's Rudy, could be 2. Well, didn't he take it well? Low corner. That's not going anywhere.
Carboni's wide on the right. Sinclair's been beaten by this one. As Alexanderson goes through, and it's 3. Richie Humphries. With some good play here from Anderson, who pulled it across, and Richie Humphries stretched a left foot to it. Pearce. Carboni, a little shove to get himself in position. Keller is in difficulties here. Carboni's right through, all the way through, and it's a penalty. It had to be. It was a wonderful run by Carboni, felled as he was right at the end. Oh, a beautifully taken penalty. And it's 73 minutes gone, and 4-0.
If fans felt urgent action was needed to stop the rot, they got it. With the proceeds from the sale of Hartson, Redknapp quickly snapped up the Cameroon World Cup star Marc-Vivien Foé from Lens and Sheffield Wednesday's unsettled Italian Paolo Di Canio. Potential goal celebrations involving Wright and Ruddock would be watched very closely for any traces of postmodern irony. And so it was that West Ham travelled to Wimbledon to face their captain for the day, Hartson, and his new tracksuit torching friends in the Crazy Gang.
Lampard's corner. Up goes Foé. A good jump. He's well wide with the header. It's been certainly a better performance from West Ham. They've put all those defeats behind them. This is Tim Breaker. Cole onto the left foot. Got right underneath it. Lampard, another in-swinging corner, and Foé! Well, he could have had a hat-trick today. Didn't hit the target.
January 1999 has to have been one of the worst months in West Ham's history. The only bright spot in the month was the point at Selhurst Park against Wimbledon. It was a perfect example of the kind of season it's been, that Hammers could finish the month in the top 10 of the Premiership, despite gaining only 1 point from their 4 January Premiership matches. Could it get better the following month? The fans were impatient for action, and the arrival of Paolo Di Canio and Marc-Vivien Foé had whet the appetite of all who follow the team at the East London Academy that is Upton Park. Arsene Wenger's Arsenal side had started the season relatively quietly, but exploded into February with a breathtaking performance of passing skills and championship contending moves that simply washed the Hammers away, in spite of a wonderfully promising debut by Paolo Di Canio.
So Bergkamp is just strolling through the defence, and he's scored! Dennis Bergkamp puts Arsenal in front. Wonderful goal. Dix has got caught up there. Parler's in plenty of space. Will come across to Overmars. Great save by Hislop, but Overmars hits in the rebound. And it's 2 for Arsenal. The West Ham defence really at 6s and 7s. Yet again exposed. Wonderful run by Parler. And it really was a super save by Hislop, but he had no chance with the rebound.
Good skills from Sinclair. Chests it down, having flicked it on. Berkovic calling for it. He gets it inside. Touch on this time. Minto's wide on the left-hand side. Tries to play a 1-2 with Berkovic. Foé comes into the picture, but everyone's committed forward for West Ham. And again, the move breaks down. And Arsenal so quick at getting men back. Good head back from Lampard. This is Berkovic, gets away from Petit. Seaman had a bit of a hash of it really, but saved it. That was the important thing. Berkovic got away from his man there. Petit was holding him and hitting a superb shot, which Seaman, I think he had 2 minds. He thought he might catch, then he thought he might tip over, and in his confusion
was still able to push it away. Sinclair he's trying to shout to alert him to the fact the ball had been passed him. He's got a bit of a knock there. What a comedy of errors. Pearce. Oh, he's done well, got it through Adams. Oh, he's pushed out. Oh, and somehow Kitson, I was going to say pushed it wide, but it was an Arsenal boot who got there first. I fancy it was Keown there. We'll have a look, another look. Pearce did well. He completely nutmegged Adams, and obviously thought he'd have a go himself. Seaman beat it out, and indeed it was Keown. An excellent challenge as Kitson closed in. Dix hasn't had a bad game, but so he wasn't able to make the challenge on Bergkamp when he scored. Everybody's falling over now. An Arsenal break. Well, oh dear, Anelka's onside here, but he's flanked by Pearce, and Ferdinand is back now. Oh, he's gone round him. Oh, that's a brilliant goal. How did he make the space? The referee is saying to Anelka quite wisely, you need to get away from the West Ham fans, so that could be incitement. But a lovely goal. I mean, really superb skills. Sinclair beaten by Winterburn, and West Ham are 3-0 down, having lost 4-0 in their last game. Questions are going to have to be asked, even though it is Arsenal. And could it be for Overmars? Oh, and Parler. And it is for West Ham, truly hammered again. Ray Parler scores the fourth in the 86th minute. He must have felt that he might have had his second of the game. Ray Parler, 25 years old, gets himself on the score sheet. Frank Lampard looking to get himself on the score sheet here. Certainly there was a bit of space for him, probably for the first time. First time a West Ham player has been given more than about a yard of space. It just clipped the frame of the crossbar.
Harry Redknapp's men's following fixture was against bottom of the table, fast-sinking Nottingham Forest, now managed by the Premiership's Mr. Fix-It, Ron Atkinson, who'd already seen his side lose 8-1 to Manchester United the previous weekend. Not as easy a game as it looked on paper, though.
Sure, I couldn't have picked the worst game.
But this really was the turning point for the getting back on the road again.
Yeah, but it was always going to turn, Martin. It was never a case of it not turning, in my opinion. It was just, I brought new players in who I had great faith in, and just felt it was a case of getting the squad together again and getting them settled into the club. And Forest, I think as a football manager, the one team you don't want to play is the team bottom of the league, because that is a no-win situation. That is one where you get beat and you really are in trouble.
Ferdinand sprays the ball out to the right. Trevor Sinclair. It's Lomas. West Ham has certainly missed him in the last few games. The ball squeezes it through to Di Canio. He should have done better from there. The perfect ball through by Lomas. Perfectly weighted, and Di Canio will be disappointed not to have hit the target. Right under it. Disappointed. Berkovic. Unusual position of taking the throw on this left-hand side. Lazaridis. Squeeze one through, it's come through to Berkovic. Pearce! Ian Pearce has scored his first goal for West Ham this season, and it couldn't come at a better time. The 33rd minute, and West Ham's pressure finally pays off. He's absolutely delighted. It was a great move. The ball threaded through by Lampard to Berkovic, and a lovely touch by Pearce. Pearce, of course, who was a makeshift striker at Blackburn. Really, he can play anywhere. And the real strikers finish their very elegant left-footed shot to the left of Dave Besson. Really enjoy this one again. Launched himself, and that's a great shot. A neat touch to Sinclair. Di Canio has to win it back though. Sinclair and Di Canio playing neat 1-2. Sinclair, if he can pull it back, and Lampard's in there. Frank Lampard tucks it away. That's his third goal of the season. Neat play between Sinclair and Di Canio. Looked as though, for a moment, Sinclair had wasted the opportunity when Di Canio found him. But in the end, he strolled past his marker, Stahl Stanzas, kept it on the ground, kept it simple, and Lampard did the rest. That's the way. West Ham 2 up.
Second goal for West Ham, scored by Frank Lampard.
Di Canio can hit him in from this position. Ruddock's got up well! And Besson, well, he looked a little complacent as that ball went to his right. But I tell you, it wasn't nearly as far away as he would have liked. It was a wonderful free kick by Di Canio, who proves he can make them as well as put them away. A great leap by Ruddock, just wide. Berkovic is off, and it's another appearance by Joe Cole. Came on against Swansea. And interestingly enough, it's not the only substitution. Scott Gemmell looks like he's going off Forest, and I can tell you that a player that a lot of West Ham fans will recognise. It's Hugo Porfirio, sporting something more of a mane than he had when he was playing at Upton Park. It's good to see him returning to FA Carling Premiership football. Porfirio straight into the action, wearing 31. He comes across out to Lazaridis, hits one across. Kitson throwing himself in. Paul Kitson hasn't scored since November. Chettle went in with him there. And Haidon. Helder gets up, and Forest have pulled one back. Just 7 minutes to go. Jon Olaf Helder, and Hislop committed to the dive. Helder just changed the trajectory of the ball. It was a powerful header, good jump. Hislop, no chance. And Forest, well, it's going to be a nerve-wracking 7 minutes for Harry Redknapp.
A vital win for West Ham, their first for nearly 2 months, but it still wasn't enough to suggest that a trip up to Anfield would be yielding anything other than the expected thrashing.
I couldn't really believe it, playing with Ryman Premier League standard and straight away coming to Premiership. Dream come true, really. Supported West Ham all my life and couldn't believe it, really. I was up there, I couldn't believe what was happening, and I could have been playing. Just unbelievable.
I mean, when was the first you heard that West Ham were interested?
Well, I didn't know if it's for definite. I've just playing the game, and you hear things like people coming to watch. I heard like Vauxhall Conference teams coming to watch, but I didn't hear nothing of West Ham. And then they asked me down for a week's trial, and it all started from there, really.
Yeah, I had the two young kids on the bench, both out of non-league football. One from Kingstonians, one from Gravesend. And Holligan actually came on the pitch with sort of 10 minutes to go or so, 15 minutes to go, whatever it was, and should have scored the winner. Had a great chance, one-on-one with the keeper, and that would have been real Royder Rovers stuff.
Brian Kidd's Blackburn side had re-established itself as a Premiership force since he joined the club, and its disastrous start to the season had been forgotten. West Ham's squad, though, looked a lot stronger than for some time, back to virtual full strength, and they soon made it pay.
Lomas, more space for West Ham now, and they really have got numbers up here. Di Canio, if he can get a good cross in. It looks good. Pearce goes up. It's 2 in 2 home games for Ian Pearce. Puts West Ham ahead on 27 minutes. And a lunge on the line by Peacock. Couldn't change things. That's his second goal of the season. And what a month he's having. Good touch from Berkovic to Lampard. Foe. Lomas in space. Sinclair. Berkovic. Called by Lomas. Plays the decoy. Lampard. Berkovic is in here. It's there for Di Canio. It's first goal for West Ham. Lovely tight play between Lampard and Berkovic. And in the end, Berkovic across the goal. A tap in for Di Canio. So West Ham 2 up on the half hour. It's 2 in 2 minutes.
Number 10, Paolo Di Canio.
This is Ian Pearce. That's a long ball looking for Di Canio. Di Canio finds Sinclair with a beautiful first time ball. This is Berkovic! Oh no! What would have been a magnificent goal. It was Di Canio's first time ball out to Sinclair. His first time ball in. Berkovic arrived late, blazed at it. It was like a penalty from the edge of the 6-yard box. McAteer brings it out for Blackburn. All along the ground, Gillespie coming into this game more and more. McAteer looking for Blake. No one challenging him. McAteer get a cross in. Davis. Ferdinand with him. So call for a right-footed cross. Does. Taken down. Potts clears. And in the same way as West Ham against Liverpool, played well as a team. Davis, long shots. Great save!
February finally saw the departure of Tim Breaker to Queen's Park Rangers to join Ludek McCloskey after a loan spell with the West Londoners. Signed from Luton for £600,000 in October 1990, Tim managed 289 outings in an illustrious Upton Park career. He was Billy Bond's first major signing and a classy fullback who made many goals with his runs down the right wing and will be missed. His departure effectively signalled West Ham's last links with the Billy Bonds days. February 1999 was as good a month as January had been bad. West Ham had managed to steady themselves and make Europe a reality once more, despite their worst start to a year for over 20 seasons. But hiccups remained. A bright start against Southampton at the Dell soon came to nothing.
Ruddock. Foy. Now Letizia. Marsden. Nothing on, so he had the shot. Now Cashlew. Worth a shot as well, and it took a deflection off Ferdinand. And Cashlew is claiming the goal. As well he might. Beatty. To Lundekvar. Ferdinand lets the ball spin. He was the unfortunate man who deflected the ball past his own goalkeeper in the first half. And they go to arbitration to decide actually who did score the goal, whether it will be credited to Cashlew who fired it, or Southampton, or Ferdinand who allowed it. So unfortunately the flick of his heels. This is Sinclair for West Ham. Plays in. It's an almighty miss by Ayel Berkovic. Sinclair, Icanio and Berkovic both demanding the ball off him. Berkovic gets it by default, puts in a good cross. Foe tried to kick it over his head. Lampard back, Pearce. The kind of shot one may associate with a central defender, which of course he is, and demonstrated without finishing.
Chelsea were still one of the few teams in the league with an unbeaten home record, despite having gone out to Manchester United in the FA Cup earlier in the week. Harry changed his tactics, but what was this all about?
Somebody said to me in the press conference, you know, where did you come up with them tactics? I said, oh, last night in bed. and he said, who with, or some silly question like that. I said, well, you know, who else would want to go to bed with me except my wife? And I said, actually, it was her idea. I mean, it was only a wind-up.
And everybody printed it the following day.
I know.
Can you believe
I know. My wife said, oh, thanks, Harry. But, no, we went to Chelsea and played differently. And it's amazing. What amazes me at times is the reaction of people. I had the West Ham punters behind me that day, and I decided to go away to Chelsea. I played one up, two wingers pushed on. So really you're playing with three forwards, but you're only playing one through the middle. And I played with three midfield players. And decided that, you know, with Foe, Lampard, Lomas across them in the middle of the park, Sinclair pushed on wide, Keller pushed on left, and Kitson up on his own. And after 15 minutes or so, we were in no real danger. We started decently without causing too many, but we took the sting out of the game. And I had people behind me, oh, get another forward on, get it. It amazes me how people react. You know, we're the only country in the world that play with two strikers anyway. You go and play against France or something, they play one up with lots of movement behind them, fill up the midfield, and so do the Italians. And suddenly we played differently, and it was like, you know, we shouldn't be doing this, yet we go and win the game 1-0.
This is Pearce. And Kitson already on the chase behind Myers, who fouled him. It's a free kick to West Ham just outside the area. Neil Ruddock comes running up. Pearce and Ferdinand have gone to the far side. Wonder if Ruddock with the left foot might fancy this. It's his sort of angle. And at the moment there are only three in the wall. Foe is forward as well for West Ham. And it's Ruddock. Just scored the one goal so far in his West Ham career. And that was against Chelsea at Upton Park in a 1-1 draw. De Hoy dealt with this one. Di Matteo, Flo. That's the best effort so far from Torre-Andre Flo. Took it on the turn and had Hislop scrambling down to his right. Di Matteo sets up the play. Flo hit this quite early. Not far away. This is Ruddock. Lampard. In the centre here, Kitson waiting for the cross with Sinclair. And West Ham, I think, have forced a corner. Their first of the match. It was Minto who made the forward surge. And Keller's gone across to take it. Ferdinand has come forward, so has Ruddock and Foe. Short to Sinclair. Back to Keller. Well, they really seem to have passed up the advantage there, West Ham. They had big men waiting in the middle. The ball wasn't delivered there. Here's Lomas. In fact, Ferdinand has stayed forward now. And so had Pearce. Lomas with the long throw. Foe waiting, Pearce behind him. It's Foe. That's Pearce. Oh, and they've left Foe! It's a goal for West Ham. No, it's not. No, it's not. Referee seen an infringement. It's been disallowed. The Cameroon player's effort is not going to count. Paul Alcock saw something up. Foot up on the 6-yard line. The goal does not stand. Now then, there's the bouncing ball. There's Foe, where's the offence? Free kick to West Ham. Tension rising. This is Sinclair, beautifully done. Kitson's there. This is a really encouraging second half spell by West Ham. Free kick they've got here for the foul by Petrescu. Descent by Petrescu. Yellow card. Waved his hand in the direction of the referee in frustration, Dan Petrescu. Didn't feel he should have been penalised, but he's getting booked for the descent. That was the offence the referee saw on Keller. It's a free kick to West Ham. Ruddock standing in the penalty area. Foe is there. Oh, and Kitson was there against the post. A goal. The referee says it crossed the line. It's been given. Kitson's effort must have just crept in. Harry Redknapp's team in front on 75 minutes. Chelsea couldn't get it off the line. It's knocked in here by Keller. Look at Foe. He gets a header on it. It comes to Kitson. He gets a shot. Now De Hoy. Yes, it's over, it's in. No question. And West Ham have the lead through Paul Kitson. And the West Ham supporters are currently taunting Chelsea's with their own song. Here's Goldbeck. Wise has made a forward run. On this side is Petrescu. Flo and Zola waiting. And Hislop was blinded for a moment by other players, but he grabbed it at the second attempt. Kitson, Sinclair. Kitson goes to the right. Here's Lampard. This is Pearce. Lampard. Oh, Pearce, a good run here. Ian Pearce. On the ground where he started his career, he might have made this game safe for West Ham. It's Lampard who chips the ball in, and Pearce has made an inspired run from right back. And the lofted shot. Oof. We're into the last minute of stoppage time at Stamford Bridge. Zola is down, tying up his boot. They need him on his feet quickly, Chelsea. They need something now. It's Wise. Forsell making a forward run. Header by Ruddock, then by Lomas, then by Lampard. Oh, a break on for West Ham. It's Foe with Sinclair and Kitson both to his right. He's played it in for Sinclair. Could have been two. Instead, there may be one last throw for Chelsea. Been a storming second half this in the London derby. Dewberry looking for Forsell. West Ham players asking Mr. Lodge how much longer he's going to add on. Harry Redknapp here very close to 3 away points. We've played the 2 minutes of stoppage time that were allotted. It's a bubbly 3 points for West Ham, and it's a championship choker for Chelsea. Kitson's goal inflicts on Chelsea only their third Premiership defeat of the season, and their first in the league at home since last April. The pained expression on the face of Dennis Wise tells its own story. He missed one of several chances. But West Ham came out for the second half with a positive outlook, and it paid off here. East London gets the better of West London. It's Chelsea 0, West Ham 1.
Ruud Gullit's Newcastle team made their way to Upton Park, keen to avenge the 3-0 home humiliation West Ham had inflicted upon them earlier in the season. The side Gullit put out was studded with internationals, but West Ham's homegrown talent, combined with the genius of Di Canio and Foe, had other ideas.
This is Norberto Solano coming away for Newcastle. Just a little touch inside to Zaha, but Roddick came across, alleged to have fouled his man, and it's an early free kick opportunity for Newcastle. That's a hairstyle that speaks reams. And with Shearer, well, anything could happen. West Ham have to watch themselves. Early goals conceded have tended to mess up the games for West Ham. They're not good at bouncing back this season. Whether it is Dabizas or it's going to be Shearer. Hits one, and Hislop really had to move some to get to that. He really did pull off a fabulous stop. Congratulations from Kitson. Well merited. It really was a super save. Kitson jumping with Dabizas. Oh, Dabizas has stuck out a toe, and Di Canio's onside. Well, the flag stayed down somehow. And it must be the fact that it was Dabizas who stuck a foot out, and according to the law of the game, that's not offside, and he took it expertly round Shay Given, Di Canio, to score yet another home goal. This is Tamuri Ketspire in excellent form for Newcastle of late. Coming on.
Substitution for
Silvio Marek.
Silvio Marek coming on number 14. Tamuri.
See if he'll make a difference. This free kick taken by Di Canio, but headed away by Griffin. Now Newcastle can pull away. This is Saha. He's got Robert Lee with him. Lee goes to the byline. Ferdinand over there's come across. Ketspire goes in. Well, he had a good look at it, and really, Tamuri Ketspire said he's a man in form. He's been scoring goals. This was an expert cross by Lee. Flicked the boot of Ferdinand, but Ketspire should have hit the target. Really golden opportunity for Newcastle to pull level there. Should have done better. As again they push forward. An opportunity for Solano, but yet again Shaka Hislop against his old club, showing some devastating form between the sticks today. Ketspire, plenty of space, great tackle by Lampard. Really is an amazing hairstyle. Lampard again. Good interception from him. It's a good looking ball into the path of Kitson. He's got Griffin and Dabizas around him. And he scored! He slotted it in. Kitson really. He was marked by Griffin and Dabizas as the ball came through, but he just shrugged them off and finished with clinical expertise. Glorious piece of acceleration. It's only his third goal of the season, but he wouldn't have preferred to score it against anyone else. Both the Newcastle old boys, Hislop and Kitson, really having good games today, and that really was a fantastic goal. Scored in the 80th minute.
We had a great win at Chelsea, so I mean, the confidence running high anyway, so I mean, but Newcastle coming here, I mean, we had to win today if we was going to get a chance for Europe. So I mean, we've got Villa and Derby also next two games, so I mean, they're going to be 6 pointers, but it's a great win for us.
March saw West Ham occupying 5th position in the Premiership. It had been a long fight back, but the Hammers were once again within reach of a European spot. It was all a case of could they attain the consistency to climb one further place. West Ham's closest rivals for a European place were Aston Villa, victims of one of the worst runs of form in the Premiership since losing the top place they'd held for almost 5 months.
taking it on with some aplomb.
Lovely touch.
The first Draper.
The first one was a lovely touch. Well, I just think the opening 4 or 5 minutes of this game were just, if you walked in and didn't know the positions and the confidence of teams, I think you'd have found it pretty quickly. This West Ham side have started brightly, confident. The touch on the ball has been assured and good. And this was an example of it. Thought it got away. Look at the way he just drags it back, the little spin. And that's quite a bad tackle from Mark Draper. Caught him late.
And he's been booked for it.
No surprise.
Eager to please on his return to the team. Player remembered by West Ham fans with disaffection, because that was Draper who got 2 goals for Notts County back in the early 90s at Upton Park on the last day of the season that stopped West Ham winning the old Division 2 championship.
I think
manager has had criticism in these parts over the past few weeks.
I think stopping the rot is uppermost in your mind. I think if you're a manager now and you've lost 5 in a row at home, and you set your stall out not to lose a goal, that ain't a bad basis to go at some time. And I think that's maybe what he's done tonight. He picked a team that he thinks will keep a clean sheet, and if they nick one, brilliant.
And here with Dublin, Hislop couldn't hold it. No one following in.
Nice idea. I don't think there's any other way through for Dion Dublin here. I don't think he can hit this with pace. He's got to go round players. It's what he tries to do.
Dublin. That's Watson. Dublin's header! Oh, so unlucky. Danger not away yet. Bounce back off the post. And here's Di Canio. No time for Villa to dwell on that, because West Ham counter-attack. Lomas supporting the Italian, but he looks for Sinclair. Kitson. And ball bounced up. He's used it with the upper arm. And the say-so of the assistant on the far side. Dion Dublin, desperately close for Aston Villa.
That's a wonderful header. He's really been on the periphery of this game, Dion. But that is his forte. The manager thought it might have been sneaking in. It was a wonderful header. Hislop beaten.
Maybe Farrow just forced the error there from Taylor, who made it wide wastefully. Minto to Foe. Sinclair on the bounce, which is a bit awkward to control, allowed Wright to step in, but Foe's got it back. Oh, and it's a goal, is it? For
offside. Flag's up.
The flag has gone up. Kevin Pike points the flag. Di Canio confronted by officialdom again.
A brilliant play from Foy, Martin. He was so aware when Dublin got the ball of where he was going to chest it down to and control it to. And the way he pinched it off him was absolutely top class. What a first half this lad's had. And it's typical that he was on the back of the best move. Just watch the way Dublin nods it back, but Foy's straight in ahead of him. And he just drives in and flashes it across goal. He's offside, it looks to me, about a yard, and that was important because I don't think he would have reached it otherwise.
Canio not frightened of taking on 2. Helped by Lampard. Di Canio, great play between the two. Kitson's a lovely West Ham move, and Di Canio should have made it an outstanding goal.
Oh, move of the match. Oh, move of the match. From the minute Lampard nicked it back for them after Di Canio had lost it, it was just so typical of West Ham. He loses it here, but watch Lampard come across and wins the ball back, and then it's just wonderful gives and goes. Following the ball, just delivering it right way, but just when you needed a killer touch. Well, it was a little rushed in the end, a little toe poke rather than a controlled strike. Marks to Mark Bosnich, he got in his face pretty quickly off his line, but you did feel that Di Canio should have done better.
Minto. Sinclair. Minto's gone on, so is the ball. into Minto's path. He got Kitson in field, he was aware of that, couldn't quite find him. Here is Kitson now. Di Canio. He's got into the centre. Oh, Kitson! That could have been 3 points for West Ham United.
Well, the side foot, that's the key, because it's not power. Good vision from Di Canio, just plays it across and he looks to side foot it into that near post. I didn't think there was ever the power or the space for it to find its way past Mark Boswell. Look how close he was.
West Ham's second game in 4 days looked to be a fairly easy 3 points against local rivals Charlton.
Bowen wearing number 40. Here's Di Canio. Oh, Lampard! That was the best chance West Ham have had in the first half. It was cleverly created, but the finish was a bit too high. This is Kitson to Sinclair. And Kitson tries to get there before Barnes. Rufus with the clearance. Lomas. And Bowie makes a run in the centre now to give West Ham strikers some support. Here's Di Canio. Now this is Lampard. That's a good shot, and then it hasn't held it. It's a goal. It's Mark Keller. No, it's not. It's offside. It's offside. It will not count. West Ham are still congratulating the scorer, but Steve Dunn had his arm up. He's back on the 6-yard line. This is Lampard. Illich hurts himself here in making the save, in fact. Tumbles over. Now, West Ham are arguing with the assistant referee, but the goal has not been given. West Ham's first corner, coming well into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Rolled into Di Canio. This is Keller. Oh, and the goalkeeper's missed it and hooked off the line. Oh, well, Mills and Kinsella were both back there with the goalkeeper. Rufus is forward, so is Tyler. Oh, Bowen came round the back. Oh, just a touch off anybody there and it would have gone in. Mark Bowen, I once saw him score a goal for Norwich in the Munich Stadium like this in the European game, but he pulled that one back, and Rufus it was who got the touch. And that was Richard Rufus, and here comes Graham Stewart! Yes! It's a goal for Charlton! It's the new signing, Graham Stewart, in front of their celebrating supporters, and you can't really argue with their right to score. At last it's paid off. A really wholehearted performance by the team, fighting relegation. Free kick by Mills. Rufus is headed back across the goal. Minto and the goalkeeper waiting for each other. Graham Stewart gets the touch and makes up for his miss in the first half. The bounce really between Minto and Hislop, and little Stewart just gets the nod.
Like their Midland rivals Aston Villa, Leicester City had suffered a turn in fortune since the start of the season, so they were more than ready for a West Ham team still without Ferdinand and Foe, who was on international duty with Cameroon. Good news though was the return to the subs bench of Ian Wright, who had been out since the end of 1998.
Berkovic and Di Canio, plenty of time to think about it. Up comes Sinclair, just wide of the post. It was a beautifully timed run by Trevor Sinclair, and he met the ball well, got away from his marker with a little flick of the head, and Keller, although he felt, yes, it was going wide, struggling a little bit towards the end. It was a lovely cross from Di Canio, and Sinclair got away from Alathorn. There was nobody else there. Good corner, beautifully taken, and not able to get the header he wanted. Impey turns it back in again. Lovely jump and back flick from Sinclair. Zizeski just wide of Hislop's left-hand post. It's a wonderful flick on. Lovely header from Sinclair and just wide from Heskey. Got into a good position there. Takes this one in left-footed, headed across the goal. It could be in. A brilliant point-blank save by Hislop from Sinclair. Absolutely superb save by Hislop. Sinclair on the far post got himself into an excellent position. Meanwhile, Di Canio breaks for West Ham. Lampard, long shot, just wide of Keller's right-hand post. Frank Lampard, he's hit the back of the net 5 times this season, 6 if you include the goal against Leicester. Marshall. Big Frank. Potts, a little chest down, bit of control, finds Di Canio. Berkovic. Could look long for Di Canio. Di Canio's got away. It's a lovely ball inside to Lampard. Now West Ham could perhaps open them up here. This is Lampard. Finds Ian Wright! Well, it's a save, but I'm not too sure it would have gone in. Let's have a look. Goodness me, what a save. It didn't look it, did it, at first glance, but Keller threw an arm up and pushed it over the bar. Says Di Canio with the corner. Right, couldn't get to it. Lamas coming up. Can he hit one in? Oh, right across the goal.
The European question remained for West Ham. Would 5th place be good enough? If it was, then Derby County would need to be soundly beaten to close the goal difference and open up an uncatchable points gap. In the event, it proved to be one of the Hammers' best performances of the season.
Schnorr. Pryor. Keeping it on the ground. Another nice touch to one shot. Catches Ruddock out. A lovely ball inside to Sturridge. And he'll be fouled. Another brilliant save. Beck couldn't get it in. And somehow West Ham survive. Wonderful play. Sturridge will feel he should have scored. But what excellent goalkeeping by Hislop. This is one shot, might try something from long distance. No one closing him down. In the end, a feeble effort. One shot did all the work. Credit, of course, to Sturridge and Beck, the other 2 frontmen who took their markers with them. And one shot, well, you would imagine from that sort of position he would have at least been able to hit the target. Steve Potts, short game for him, just 18 minutes. And one imagines that Sinclair will move back into midfield and Lomas will move back into the back 4 to make room for the man himself, Ian Wright. Look at him. You'd think he was a 17-year-old rushing on for his first game. It's West Ham's first corner. Could be righty, first touch, a great header by Ruddock. Good corner, great header, well gathered by Russell Holt. Somehow, despite his lack of form just before he got injured, Ian Wright always seems a man who might hit the target. Here's Di Canio. Berkovic has made a superb run for him. Di Canio is taking a deflection and it's in! Spencer Pryor, the unlucky man. But Di Canio will claim that as his own. And you have to say, looking at the replay, it looked very much as though it was destined for the top corner in any case. 19 minutes on the clock. And West Ham break that deadlock. Well done, Paolo Di Canio. Di Canio is onside this time. He's got right with him. Well, this is wonderful for Di Canio. Berkovic! defence, not for the first time this season, looking very stretched. And I can promise you that is not going to be the last goal today. And right at the back of things, Carbonari, Ratio, Sinclair, Di Canio, he took that brilliantly in his stride. Oh, he hit the post, just clipped the post from the save by Holt. Di Canio with a world-class first touch. Look at this touch, perfectly in his stride. Hits a goal-bound shot which Russell Holt just tips under the post. Lampard, a wonderful piece of acceleration through the midfield, picks Sinclair out on the right-hand side. Sinclair has a line of three. Foe picked out by Berkovic. Lampard, West Ham building up a little more carefully this time, try something long. Oh, being there to give me a goal for it! A mistake by Russell Holt! And Ian Wright is back with goal number 8! The impudence of Lampard to try a shot from that distance, and here's goal poaching for you. Despite the attentions of Carbonari, Wright got in and hit home. He's absolutely thrilled. If ever you wanted to see a footballer pleased to score, there's the man, Ian Wright. Couldn't get a head in on it. Pierce. Sinclair. He's passed two into the area. If he can get past Schnorr, it's a good looking cross. It's Ruddock! Neil Ruddock! And brilliant approach play by Sinclair. He made that goal. Look at this cross. Over Holt and the Derby defence, and up went Ruddock to head home West Ham's 4th. A tremendous cross, the sort that Sinclair's been hitting in all this season. Ruddock, he's got a good line in irony. The irony of him scoring with his head. Hasn't done it too often for West Ham. Scored a free kick against Chelsea in the first couple of minutes. Berkovic gets the ricochet as Lomas tried to get out of the way of that, I think. Good cross from Lomas, in goes Sinclair! And it's 5! Russell Holt just doesn't know what hit him. Great cross, spectacular header by Trevor Sinclair. And even though he's not playing up there with the strikers, he might as well be. One shot still screaming for it, never gives up. Derby cheering every time they pass. Applause from the fans too, and why not? And now One Shot, he must score now. He does, and it's deserved. Paolo One Shot, he's never let up, he's never given up. And a wry smile, barely a smile, flickers across his face. Pierce couldn't reach him, Hislop couldn't reach him, Minto couldn't reach him, and in the end the only thing that stopped him was the back of the net. It's a lovely ball from Lampard to Berkovic, who looks up and stops the play, and really a pity. West Ham were breaking then and looking good. Cole doesn't see much of this. Foe does well, finds Sinclair, brave challenge from him. Sinclair out to Berkovic. West Ham's first attack for about 6 minutes. Foe prods one in. Right, jumped on by two. Bohinen, very cool, very casual. Sturridge has it taken off him by Minto. Lampard finds Di Canio. Now the Derby defence is opening up. Can Minto put something in here? He can. A teasing cross, right! Oh, and blocked on the line to deny Ian Wright his second of the afternoon. A brilliant block it was by Horacio Carbonari. Wright did everything well there. Look at Carbonari though, he kept his legs together as we're all told to do in footballing circles. Nobody on the right hand side. Cole too slow, did not anticipate the interception of the faster, possibly even younger Adam Murray. I doubt it though. Oh! Sturridge is in. How long does he need? Well, I have a very good friend in the tea room, a nice old lady who makes an excellent cup of tea, and I tell you, she'd have buried this one.
Well, it was a good day for me. I think I had a bit of luck on my side today. Balls were coming off my heel, and so when another day would probably have gone in.
You made one or two saves at really crucial stages of the match, though.
Well, we try to keep it tight and keep a clean sheet, certainly until the other lads score on the other end. And we feel if we do that, we always have a chance, and that's what we did today. As I say, luck was with us, and before you know it, Paolo scored, and we were off and running.
How did that look from the stands? 5 goals for West Ham, but you wish you were out there.
Yeah, I don't think they needed me, to be honest, today. The team done very well, and the players that came in and done a job. Obviously it's disappointing to see Potsy come off, but Wright come on, and it seemed like an enigmatic substitution. 2 goals went in straight away, and he's smiling over the place. So, and then it's pleasing to see Wright back on the score sheet. And he had a couple of chances, so it looks like the squad's full again. Obviously, me and Kits are the only ones injured at the moment, but the squad looks to be in good shape. But next week's going to be a very important game, a London derby against Tottenham, which is vitally important for not only us but the fans and for our push for Europe. So we need to go on in that game and hopefully get a good result.
West Ham had not only been up with the best of them in the Premiership, the under-19s FA Youth Cup finalists in 1996 had progressed to the semi-finals of this year's competition, facing a tough home first leg against holders Everton.
It's better from Forbes, and now Newton again. Down the right hand side, can he get a good crossing? He gets a fabulous looking crossing. That's a fabulous goal for West Ham. Thoroughly deserved. Bertie Brayley. And what a wonderful overlap and cross from Adam Newton. Well, Bertie Brayley will be pleased with that. He hasn't really been in the match so far, but a fierce header and a classic cross by Adam Newton, and West Ham go ahead on 31 minutes. Just struck the hour. West Ham a goal to the good at the moment. Oh, and unfortunately, it was a great effort there, but he lost control just at the key moment. Now Cole getting a run. He doesn't necessarily have the speed, but he might have the skill. Brayley gets in on it. And a heavy tackle from John Wright. I think John Wright might be the second Evertonian to find his way into the book on 61 minutes for that very heavy tackle on Joe Cole. It's Ferranti and Cole. This free kick and a 4-man Everton wall. Ferranti curls a beauty! Michael Ferranti, it's West Ham second. And it's nose holding time for reasons which will become apparent later. Ferranti, who scored against Arsenal in the quarter-final, says let's hear you. Two called for it, nobody came in the end. All got in well here as Mackay. A great save from Important save by Bywater. Matt Mackay. He was in there for a moment, the goal opened up before him. Bywater and a bit of panicky defence did the rest. Now the rain is really coming down heavily. West Ham corner comes in, it's a far post one, and it's going to be in there. It had to be in there. A slip and a mistake. And West Ham are 3 goals up. Just what was needed. The corner came in, the keeper went, and unfortunately, Pilkington it was, who got in a bit of a jumble there. And Garcia's on the score card in the 74th minute. Richie Garcia, as he likes to be known. That was a goal that came from sheer persistence.
Back to the Premiership, and West Ham were beginning to look deadly again, hitting form at precisely the right time for a visit to White Hart Lane.
We went there again and played with 1 striker. I changed the system again and played righty up on his own. Di Canio wasn't fit, so I played right up, and I played with 2 wingers again, like we played at Chelsea, pushed on, Sinclair and Keller. And got support and played Berkovic in a free role with Monca and Lampard as 2 central midfield players. And again, we controlled the game, and it worked a treat, and really could have won a lot easier than the scoreline suggested.
Long from Walker, third man should meet that. Carl's touch was rather loose. Berkovic did well, trying to put Sinclair through, and Walker had to read it, and he did. That's to Ian Wright, first time shot, and Ian Wright, would you believe, has brought West Ham ahead. It was on the cards. George Graham bought him for Arsenal, and Ian Wright within 4 minutes, his second goal in successive games. He only started 18 games. Well, he haunted Spurs enough as an Arsenal player, and he's doing it for West Ham as well. Tottenham who have 4 games left after this, and break off because Berkovic has sprung the offside trap again. Into Lampard. Now Monca. This is Keller. He scored a few from distance, and it just got deflected, so there'll be a corner for West Ham. And he scored a very long-range effort against Newcastle. Frenchman, but he's got 3 all told this season. This is Monca. Berkovic. Here's Keller lining it up again. So close. Ginola. Looked up twice, and very nearly picked out Dominguez. And just for once this afternoon, West Ham's defence didn't look all that solid. Lampard. Berkovic. Excellent run through from Keller. He can settle it here, and he has. It's so simple. Spurs look for a flag, it never came. And Mark Keller, the Frenchman, has doubled West Ham's lead in 65 minutes. Spurs 0, West Ham 2. Through the eye of a needle. Excellent run. Walker did all he could. The finish was top class. West Ham lead 2-0. Dominguez. That's nicely done. Still Dominguez. And deflected. And if it had been deflected with any more pace, it might have been very embarrassing for Rio Ferdinand, as it was. An easy pick up for his lot. But excellent approach play from Dominguez. goes from the full-back towards Sol Campbell, who got up well and very nearly steered it inside Hislop's post. Excellent header from the captain. Forward by Campbell, looking for Armstrong. And acrobatics! And so close from Tim Sherwood. What an equaliser that would have been. In towards Campbell. Up goes Ferdinand. It's found its way back to Nielsen. Ginola. Good tackle by Sinclair, and West Ham have got a big break on here. He's got two forward. Berkovic is with him on the right-hand side. He's played the other way. And it would have been a very dramatic introduction for Stan Lazaridis, but he was given offside. And Spurs may yet have one more chance to launch another final attack. Carr into Sherwood. Freund. Dominguez. Monclar, who could be in trouble here. Monclar's already been booked. And Steve Carr's flailing away. There's a red card for Monclar for a start. And maybe others.
April saw West Ham still 6th, but breathing down the necks of the resurgent Aston Villa. The more even distribution of points across the clubs this season meant that West Ham might not need too much from their last 3 to be in with a shout for Europe. Next, though, it was Leeds. A minute was spent in silence before the Leeds fixture, in respect for Sir Alf Ramsey, the manager who took England to their only World Cup success in 1966. When the game finally kicked off, West Ham seemed caught with their minds still in the 60s. Every Hammer horror cliché ringing true as Jimmy Hasselbank put Leeds ahead with his 19th of the season after just 19 seconds.
And it's a goal for Leeds!
West Ham was somewhat over-eager to reply swiftly, and first Moncur, and then Wright, ended up in the referee's book. Stunningly, after this challenge by Wright on Ian Hart, referee Rob Harris felt Hammer's top scorer should play no further part in the game. Wright was less than pleased with the verdict. He finally went after some persuasion from ex-Palace colleague Nigel Martin and West Ham's Trevor Sinclair. Sinclair himself then went close after an excellent move as West Ham's 10 men surged forward again and again. At the end of the first half, Leeds exposed the 10 men with an Alan Smith goal. Hammers came out for the second half fighting and amazingly pulled a goal back through Di Canio after some excellent approach play.
Goal number 4 for Paolo Di Canio. Totally deserved on 47 minutes. And it was Berkovic, no surprise, who set it up for him. And stylishly put away by Paolo Di Canio.
The game, though, fell away from the Hammers in the 63rd minute when Foe left Hislop in the lurch and the West Ham keeper brought down Hasselbank and brought his own part in the game to a premature end.
Well, it's a big decision for referee Rob Harris. He knows the game will be a farce, and it is a farce. Hislop is off. That's the letter of the law. And on 61 minutes, West Ham have to bring on the reserve keeper, Craig Forrest.
He hadn't been expecting his first appearance of the season to be in a 9-man team or to come on facing a penalty. Hart put it away with ease. Quarter of an hour later, Bowyer fired in a fourth, followed swiftly by Haaland's first of the season to make it 5. Somewhat incredibly, Steve Lomas saw fit to launch himself into a tackle that could only mean one thing. And suddenly, it was Leeds who were worried. One more dismissal and West Ham would have been down to 7 and the game would have had to have been called off. The next game couldn't come quick enough for West Ham. Pity about the opposition. Everton needed to win to guarantee their Premiership status next season. And although West Ham managed to finish the game with 11 this time, there were more holes in the defence than a cardi in a wardrobe full of moths. 1. Kevin Campbell. 2. Michael Ball. 3. Don Hutchison. 4. Batman Campbell again. 5. And again. 6. Phil Jevons. Kerry of the Hammerettes, you're modelling the new kit today. When did you just get it this morning?
Received it this morning, yeah.
And what are your first thoughts?
I quite like it. I didn't see very many differences from the old shirt, but walking about with the fans, I've noticed loads.
And what do you get as a Hammerette? How much kit do you get?
Well, from Fila, we've only just got the crop tops and the shorts, but our last sponsor, Mizuno, we've got quite a few tracksuits and bags and caps and lots of stuff, but I don't think we've received the whole lot yet.
But you'll obviously get more legs. You haven't got the shorts yet, obviously, which could be a bit cold, I would think, perhaps. So tell us, how long have you been a Hammerette?
I've been a Hammerette for about 6 months now.
And how does one become a Hammerette? What happens?
Well, my flatmate, she's West Ham mad, and her dad's business was advertising in the programme, and they said you should audition, so she said should we go along for a laugh, so that's how it happened really. Went for the audition and we've been here ever since.
Do the Hammerettes do other things other than just the games here?
Yeah, we dance for Surrey Cricket Club, which is going into its season now, Warrington Rugby and Saracens Rugby team.
So plenty of work really, not quite a full-time job yet.
Oh, well, there's different bits and pieces we do with Sky Sports as well, and promotional work, so it's getting bigger.
Look at your t-shirt, for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse, in sickness and health, until death do us part. So the best way for you to go, you reckon, would be watching West Ham knock an 8th goal in, maybe in the first half of a game.
I can't see me ever living that long, to be honest. You're talking to a man who's seen too many 4, 5 and 6 goal defeats this season to ever think we're going to win by 8 goals anyway.
Oh, you must have seen Jeff Hurst 6. Did you?
And I also saw last week Everton 6, so keep it in perspective.
Paul Ince, would he be welcome back to Upton Park?
Well, you did ask me if I had a long memory, and it's not. It's long enough to remember Paul Ince in a very bad light, and I don't think I could ever forgive and forget.
So to the last game of the season. Echoes of last season's home fixture against Leicester City with a European place at stake. Incredibly, 5th place was still up for grabs, despite West Ham having conceded 11 in their previous 2 games. They needed, though, to beat Middlesbrough and see Arsenal pinch at least a point at home to Aston Villa. You could see exactly what every West Ham fan was thinking. Just who writes these scripts? How long have you been supporting them?
Just over 30 years.
30 years?
I'm 74 today.
And are you local, Liz?
I live in Ilford.
So why West Ham?
Because I love them. Because they're the best team in England.
Are you a season ticket holder?
No, I used to be, but I gave it up because I had a mild heart attack. I come now when I want to. Don't come as much as I would like to, but I still follow them.
And you're here to see the Middlesbrough game now.
Of course.
How do you think they're going to do today?
We're going to win. We're going to win.
And who are your favourite players in the
Skippy. Skippy.
Oh, who might be playing today, we hear.
Hope so. I hope so.
Do you think that Harry should let him out a little more often?
Yeah, just for me. Just for me. Just as a birthday present for me.
Now, you brought Mum along, or has Mum brought you today to the game?
Well, we've paid for the tickets.
So you brought her, really,
Yes,
but
yes.
Jenny, you're the fan, really. Is that
Yeah.
true? So who's your player of the season, would you say?
Steve Lomas.
Steve Lomas. Now, when West Ham didn't do so well at the turn of the year, he actually missed most of those games. So you think he's a very important influence in the side?
Yeah.
Were you very upset when he got sent off against Leeds?
Yeah, because it means missing a lot of games.
Like today,
Yeah.
for example. And do you think that's going to influence whether or not West Ham can beat Middlesbrough?
Could do, because we've got Hislop missing as well.
Potts will look to turn this one in. Chloe, good ball. Minto might try something from this position. Just a little chip inside. Di Canio gets the corner. Gary Pallister, 6'4", is the tallest player in the Middlesbrough side. Came back from Manchester United to his old club and masterminded a victory over them, 3-2, last December. quite sure how this one's going to be taken. It's going to come right across. Lovely shot and a fantastic goal! Lampard out of the blue. And hasn't he been wanting to do that so often? It was a wonderful ball. And Lampard just hit it with the right foot. Curled beautifully into the corner of Schwartz's goal. And after just 3 minutes, Frank Lampard scores his 5th of the season. Well, wasn't that a brilliant goal from Berkovic? And look at the crisp shot here with the outside of the right foot. That's a brilliant finish from Lampard. Potts down the line perhaps to Keller. Great ball to Berkovic and Lampard. Some good football played by West Ham. Both sides played a lot of attractive football this season, and certainly Musto did well to take the ball off Lampard, but then Berkovic returned the favour. Sinclair is onside, and he must score! And Keller does! Hammers have 2. And really Middlesbrough looked like they had about 4 players on the pitch. And it was really a question of who was going to tuck the ball away, because here Middlesbrough screaming for offside in vain. But Sinclair was not offside. Schwarzer completely committed himself, and Sinclair unselfishly turned the ball across the goal for Mark Keller to score his 5th of the season. And Harry Redknapp not seeing fit to bring anybody on. No need to fix something which is not broken. Berkovic, wonderful. Sinclair, he's in here. It is number 3, and it's Trevor Sinclair. A deserved goal. And again, look who made it. It's that man Berkovic, but a lovely first touch by Sinclair and a wonderful finish as Schwarzer advanced out. So on 75 minutes, West Ham look to have booked their European passage if they can sort the old Intertoto Cup out. The wonderful finish by Sinclair.
By number 8, Trevor Sinclair.
Berkovic. Sinclair is onside. And he scored a second. And if he hasn't, I know Di Canio has. So 3 minutes after the first, it's another. Possibly for Sinclair. Let's have a little look here. Yeah, that's a goal.
So West Ham finished 5th in the FA Carling Premiership, their best ever placing under Harry Redknapp and in the new top flight. It meant effectively a chance to play off in the Intertoto Cup in July for the European place that the team so clearly deserved. Hammer's player of the season was Shaka Hislop, with Ian Pearce finishing 2nd. Harry Redknapp and his staff have built the kind of squad that can take West Ham even further, perhaps even to the dizzy heights of the European success they last achieved back in 1965 when Redknapp himself was a player.
I'd rather get in the go in the Fair Play League, really, be Sheffield Wednesday. That's the game, isn't it? Lose every week and get in the f***ing UEFA Cup. That's a good idea. That's what we're going for next year. Didn't he put his flag up sometimes, that linesman?
Okay, this is
What was he like? I thought he was off the railway.
What do you fancy for a finish?
I don't know. It's difficult, you know. But I've got a good squad, and suddenly people are fit. I had a good bench today with good players. People like old Berkovitz on the bench today. You know, Mark Keller's played well. Moncur was on the bench. Got people like Joe Cole waiting to get into the team. So it's a nice position to be in. At last, we've got a decent squad that well deserves a position of 5th in the league.
John Hartson soon back?
He's soon back. Where?
Of course, he'd gone to. I was thinking you'd still got it.
That's one for the old deliberate mistake, isn't it?
Over the Christmas day, Harry. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Harry, sorry.
Keep it very brief. Okay. Sorry. Are you all right doing the honours with us? Right. Just say what you want me, and we'll crack on.
I thought the chairman had brought him back or something.